We have been talking at the Illinois Chiropractic Society for quite some time about what we can do as an association as we look at the diversity in the profession and versus the diversity in the population of Illinois. What can we do to move that needle? And so today we're really excited to do something completely different than what we do on a weekly basis. And we have asked Dr. Micheala Edwards, who is the president of the American Black Chiropractic Association, to join us for a conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so DEI is a critical part of pretty much our world that we live in, especially for the chiropractic profession today. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Edwards.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
We're excited to have you. So, we kind of talked a little bit earlier, but I want to rehash some of those figures that we talked about before we started recording. What do you see in some of your research and some of your digging? What do you see in the chiropractic realm as some of the challenges that we face? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Well, within the chiropractic profession, there's a lot of things that are happening. We are now moving into the era where we are able to kind of look at some of what has happened in the last 125 years within the profession to try and strategize some new things that we could take action on now, so that we can build or carve out a profession that works great in the future, where the population of our nation will drastically have changed since the inception of the profession itself. So we've noticed that there are, some offset numbers with regards to potential patients within populations that have high numbers of minorities within the county, with regards to the doctors of chiropractic in those areas that are able to treat such populations. Of course, we would love for it to be a situation where it does not matter what the doctor of chiropractic looks like or where they actually hang their shingle. Patients should come, but that just truly isn't what the case has been. We found that most of our patients are more apt to finding a doctor that best represents their population, meaning a doctor that lives in their community, that looks like them, that has struggled in the same manner of which some of the patients that will come into those clinics have, and to have just a different understanding or a general understanding of what is going on in those communities and how to best prepare to take care of those patients and those families. So we've found that the only research project within the profession that actually was published and gave us some insight as to what those numbers actually look like come from 2012, which is not really good. It's not a reason. I don't consider that as recent as I would like when it comes down to knowing what we're dealing with here. However, until we can get some new up-to-date research studies going, then we only have what we have to go off of. So in those studies, and it was published in the Journal of Chiropractic Education back in 2012, it basically showed that at that time, there was less than 4% minority chiropractors of all chiropractors in the United States. And that percentage of minority chiropractors was expected to treat at least I would say 40% of minority population. And at that point, it wasn't 40%, but of course, in this same study, they projected in 2050 that it would be 49 to 51% difference between 49% minorities in the population to 51% of white or non-minority citizens within the population. So if you can even just get a grasp of those numbers, you'll see there's a great offset when it comes down to a profession that's well representative of the population that it serves. We are not there yet. We must work to get to that point. And what this means is just, quite frankly, improving the number of students in chiropractic school and the number thus of students that graduate and become chiropractors will improve along the minority spectrum as well. So that's one of the most important things that I can see. Of course, that's just like easiest thing to say, right? You just got to improve enrollment in schools, right? But that's easier said than done. So it's going to take an effort amongst a lot of components within the profession in order to realize that goal of becoming a profession of doctors that are representative of the population it serves.
So talking about that, what does that look like in Illinois? I think we briefly chatted about this before. I think it's 14.6% of Illinoisans are Black, according to the U.S. Census
Mhm.
Bureau. What you said, 4% of the profession is minority. What does that percentage look like as far as Black communities are concerned?
So Black communities are amongst the most underserved communities when it comes down to chiropractic. Like there's more, there, of course we are in competition, and I hate to use that word, but there's alternatives to chiropractic, of course. Most of the population would seek medical treatment, and others would go a different route and maybe go, a physical therapy or osteopathy route. There are different things that we can look at. But then the Black community, that number is even dwindled further to around 1% of chiropractors in the profession are Black. And then we have, as far as patients are concerned, again, that number of patients in the Black communities are amongst the most underserved. And the only proof that I can provide or even discuss to that effect is that in, I guess, what was the year 2000? I have a study that I've seen from chiropractic beneficiaries as far as Medicaid or Medicare is concerned. So we can always take those numbers and see how what the number of the population is utilizing those benefits for chiropractic care, right? And so with that, it was 2007, some of the data comes out of. But we noticed that in counties within the United States that had a population that ranged of over, I would say, 50% Black, those communities, those cities, those counties, cities, and states represent a number that is very small, to less than one chiropractor per 1,000, one to 1,000 potential patients is what the numbers look like. That's how many potential patients are there, and that's how many chiropractors, 1 to 1,000. So if you could imagine, if I a Black chiropractor that went into one of those counties and set up shop, then I would be responsible basically for pretty much that entire population of that county, right? Which means then that as a chiropractor, I'm overworked. I don't have time to get into the community and truly interact with the people and to, teach them about chiropractic. I'm sitting in a clinic 20 hours a day trying to adjust everyone. So it's these types of studies and numbers that are really telling on what it looks like. Number one, to be a potential patient in a county where you don't have a chiropractor that you would trust and want to go to, but two, to be a chiropractor in a county that you're the only one and you literally have no time to do anything else. So that's really what it would look like. And I assume, I'm not in Illinois, but I would assume that that's probably what it looks like in Illinois. If there's 1 or 2 Black chiropractors in Illinois doing very well, they're doing very well because they're doing very well. I mean, they have all the population.
Right.
And then there's others that are too far from those urban core populations to where the patients do not just get chiropractic care unless they travel for it, if that makes any sense. So we hope that we can change this figure by pushing out some more minority chiropractors that can set up shop and most definitely take care of those populations that are now considered underserved where chiropractic is concerned.
Sure. We actually have Lindsay, and Lindsay. Lindsay
Yes.
is our Director of Governmental Relations, and she's with us today. And really, and I know you two have talked quite a bit about a lot of these things, but Illinois is an interesting state. 25% of our population there are actually Medicaid patients, and Medicaid really, for all intents and purposes, really doesn't cover chiropractic. We could talk about the youth, if you will, those who are 20 and under actually have chiropractic coverage, but it is an adjustment only, and they don't cover anything else. And the problem with that is you can't give it away. And since you can't give it away, then you have some of these underprivileged communities who then really, truly don't have legitimate access to chiropractic care because they can't get coverage. And of course, that is our number one priority legislatively, is to fix that, because 25% is such a huge number. And so Lindsay has been working, and Lindsay, you can jump in anytime. Lindsay's been working with a number of groups to help us move that needle as far as Medicaid's concerned, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we've definitely been with legislators and talking about, what that looks like, and in different chiropractic physicians throughout the state who have high portions of Medicaid population in their area. And, they get these phone calls. I've got one who gets, I think she gets 3 to 4 phone calls a week. Somebody wants to come in and she's like, I'm sorry, like, this is what it's going to cost you. And the patient can't afford it. So that's a very common problem. And she doesn't want to have that conversation, right? She doesn't want to say, well, does it cover you? And she wants to treat them, but then, you can't just give it away and all the things that go with that. So yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah. So Dr. Edwards, what are your thoughts in this regard, or where do you feel like something like that fits into the process of being able to, again, move that needle both for the profession and for the population?
Yeah, so there's twofolds when it comes down to the Medicaid, Medicare coverage, and the opportunity for patients to come in and get care at a cost that's affordable to them by utilizing some of their benefits. I believe, number one, we have a great responsibility to our population to actually offer some type of way to the care that they need, whether they can afford it or not. And so we still have the fight, like you said, it's ongoing in your state, it's ongoing in other states. I know that the ACA takes a very strong, stance on the Medicaid, Medicare situation. And so that is something that has to happen. There's no way to offer care for otherwise patients that could not get it. The problem is that even if you give them that opportunity, that option, you still will, with these numbers, have the same scenario that I just painted.
Right.
You have the same problem. So either way, we have to fix two problems. Number one, you fix the whole legislative thing. And then the number two problem you fix is, of course, you ramp up or beef up those numbers of practitioners who are able to offer the service for either the insurance piece or otherwise. At this point, we still would be short doctors, if you will. So I stand behind being able to allow our patients to utilize their benefits to their advantage, because we do realize that people are not, some people don't have income to sustain such treatment. And then others literally just want to have the opportunity to utilize, a lot of our patients don't have an actual understanding that they really can take control of their own health and wellness and not necessarily, adhere to the confines of any insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, major medical, whatever insurance they want to use. But most people will feel like, if I got the benefit and it doesn't count toward chiropractic, then why do I need to go? Right. So the third side to it is we must educate the masses of the importance of receiving such care, no matter what type of coverage there is. And so people will tend to change their mindset about how they actually approach their own health and wellness. They'll take control of it and say, I don't care if I got insurance over here. This is what I need. Well, then I need to find a way to get it. Either I'm going to pay cash out of pocket, or I'm going to literally just link up with this doctor and see what I need to see in order to get what I can get. So a lot of people, in our communities, that's really the mindset. The mindset is, well, I got insurance. They gave it to me. It's a benefit. So why can't I use it? And if I can't use it for chiropractic care, then why do I need chiropractic care? So now we are fighting the fight to change the verbiage around these benefits when it comes down to governmental aid, so that it is not necessarily something that is seemingly like, oh, that's just that over there. You have it if you need it, but you can go and just get 6 adjustments in a 12-month time span, and that's it. Forget if you get in a car crash or you're working out and fall down to anything, forget that. Most patients, when they learn the value of chiropractic, they'll change their mindset on how to get it, and they will find a way to get it. So we have to do so many pieces to this ever turning and changing locomotive to make sure that we get to where we need to be. We have to educate our masses. We have to fight for the legislative changes. And we also have to beef up the number of students in our chiropractic programs nationwide, so that we end up with more doctors that represent the population.
Yeah, all of those things. I love that. That's fantastic. And that's exactly what we want to do as an association, right? We want to help move that needle. We want to move both the patient awareness and our doctors, right,
Mhm.
who
Mhm.
are also minority populations as well. And of course, get them into the communities, those underserved and underprivileged areas that really do matter. We want to serve those communities of color, and it matters. So
Mhm.
you're also working through the American Black Chiropractic Association. You're working on like a history project, right? So do you tell us a little bit about that?
Hey, real quick,
Yes.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
can
go
I
ahead.
jump in
Yes.
real quick? Before
Uh-huh.
Dr. Edwards starts on her history project, do you want to give a little snippet about what the ABCA is for everyone too?
Yeah, sure. The American Black Chiropractic Association, we were founded 40 years ago. Dr. Bobby Westbrooks was out of St. Louis, Missouri, basically found that there was a void, a need for some type of camaraderie, a network system for Black chiropractors and Black students of chiropractic to actually get all of the information necessary, like these talks that we're having, to kind of disseminate some data, some information in order to shape and mold how we as Black chiropractors would approach our communities of color in order to provide top-notch care for them, right? And so he formed the ABCA with some of his colleagues, and they had the very first national convention at Logan College, or then it wasn't called Logan, I forgot what it was called, but it wasn't called Logan, but it was in St. Louis. And since then, we have literally built upon the initiatives of the very first, meeting of minds for the ABCA. And today we are still fighting and working on those initiatives that stem around a few things like community outreach, scholarship, as well as research in community service. So we are working very hard to realize Dr. Westbrook's dream of having a profession that most definitely includes some minority chiropractors who are very well equipped and knowledgeable to treat the populations that they serve. So that's just kind of the gist of the ABCA. We do have a student organization, Student American Black Chiropractic Association, which is across the nation. At each chiropractic campus, we have chapters that are there. The students join us, and we put on a couple of events a year so that we can actually, keep a hold of those students and build our network as they become doctors. And we provide outreach, we provide trainings and specific coaching for our students and doctors along the lines of the conversations that we're having today. And so, the ABCA serves as a voice for Black chiropractors, a voice for Black chiropractic students, as well as a voice for minorities within the profession altogether.
Thank you. That's perfect. In fact, Lindsay and I had the privilege of meeting with your chapter, I believe, from National.
Yes.
Just a handful of weeks ago, and I think Tiara's leading that group and is doing a fantastic job. So
Yes.
yeah, good call, Lindsay, and I'm glad you could tell us a lot about the ABCA. So talk to us now about the history project. What are you working on, and what does that look like?
Yes. So under the leadership of our Black History Chairman, Dr. Kenneth Brown, we are doing a chiropractic Black history project that is the writing of a book that will go over or detail Black history with regards to chiropractic. So we have kicked this project off this month. We've created a couple of surveys that are very extensive that we've sent out to some heavy hitters within the profession that have a very important historical component to their experience, and we want to hear about it. So we are in the process now. We started interviewing these constituents just last week, and everyone has filled out this very deep questionnaire that asks questions like, what is your experience regarding diversity within the profession? What are some of the issues you've had to overcome? And we also want to document some of the, very timeliness of some things that have happened or that were achieved by these people. So, for example, if they were the first Black DC that was licensed in a state, we want to most definitely make note to that. If they were, the first Black female president in a state association or association at all. These are the things that are being noted and published in the book. So we are now working with some DCs and non-DCs in the profession that have had a very, very finite experience in their careers, so that we can kind of tell the story as to what it is that the profession has garnered as far as Black chiropractors are concerned, as well as to become a documented, published, set in stone writing of the histories of what has happened in the first 125 years of the profession from the Black perspective, if that makes sense. So we're excited to have this project. I don't really know what Dr. Brown's timeline is. I would be vexed to say, give us 1 year to complete it. We just kicked it off this month. We literally have just done a couple of interviews. So we're just getting started, but it'll take a little while to compile all of our data. And then once we get everything, we'll literally put it together in a very organized manner and publish our book. And it'll be the very first book of its kind from the profession. So we're excited about that.
That's awesome. So, all right. So we need some information, and I think you can help. What would you tell doctors who are thinking about, okay, I want to be a part of the ABCA? What steps can they take to join? What does your membership population look like? Tell our doctors what they need to do. What's the next step to get involved with the ABCA?
So the ABCA is a very small, robust, I say small, but robust. We've rumbled some feathers and shaken up and literally stood up to the podium and said, we are here and we are not going anywhere just yet. We would love to be the organization, realize that all of our initiatives and goals have been met, and therefore we can then just kind of fade back and dissolve the organization because there's no need for it anymore. But until we realize that, we are here. And so I want to make sure that everyone understands, if you support Black chiropractors, if you support Black students of chiropractic, if you believe that the numbers that have been presented even today or in previous talks of mine are real and are impactful with regards to our profession, then you most definitely are invited to join the ABCA and its initiatives. So our website is www.abcachiro.com. On there, there's a membership benefits or a membership tab. You can click on that and read all about our membership options. They're changing. And so this, I will say today is February the 17th. These items will literally be changing in the next 24 hours as we've just launched our updated members page for our website. And so you can click on any of those, the member tab, and find your way to join us. And once you join us, you'll be pushed over into our members only section where you'll find all of the information that the ABCA is doing behind the scenes. Our calendar is there. We have a job board that people, state associations, schools, and other chiropractic companies and organizations can post their jobs there. And so we'll have a job board. We also will have an education tab where our members can click on and receive the benefits that we offer from our affiliates. So we have affiliates that actually provide trainings and coachings free of charge to ABCA members. So if any of that appeases to you, of course, a lot of the trainings are centered around Black chiropractors and treating a Black population. So you most definitely will gain that insight. And I would say any non-Black chiropractor or non-Black chiropractic student that wants to join could most definitely benefit from that, right? If you have a population, like you said, with 14.6% of minorities, you most definitely may want to improve on your knowledge set on how to deal with certain populations in those urban cities or urban communities, so that you can most definitely provide the best possible care. So a lot of those trainings and coachings will be available to our members on our members only section of the website. But most definitely 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can click on one of those buttons on our website and find a way to join the ABCA. From there, you just get thrown into our constant contacts list. And so we send out newsletters. We also will anyone can join our Facebook, our Twitter pages, and our Instagram page. We have various ways to be in contact with the ABCA. And we post a lot of what is going on within our association on the social media platforms. But necessary businesses of the association, of course, will be sent out via email through our newsletters. So, or it'll be on our new members page. They can just log in and see everything. So those are the ways that you you can get with us. Of course, we have a couple of events every year that we always promote. And things have changed since 2020, since, COVID. We can't do things in person like we used to all the time. So we did cancel or postpone our 2020 National Convention that was supposed to be held in person in Hayward on the campus of Life West. We're going to try to do it again this year, 2021, in June. So we invite everyone, members or not, to register to join us in June. We're planning, fingers crossed, we're planning for an in-person convention in June. But if not, we are very well prepared to take this thing virtual. We will not be canceling or postponing this year. So that's one way to link up and work with the ABCA, just to see what we're doing. We have some very good speakers that are lined up for continuing education credits, as well as an installment of Life West Diversity and Inclusion Summit will be the third installment I think we'll have during that event. And then even before June, our students are hosting their very first all regional virtual conference. It's going to happen this Saturday, the 20th, I believe. Yeah, that's right. This Saturday, the 20th. Sorry, I had to look at my calendar. It's going to happen on the 20th, and our students have lined up some great dynamic speakers. And although this event is hosted by students, doctors can benefit from it as well. It's absolutely free. So tell your people they most definitely can get registered. We do charge a $5 administrative fee. That's just to go through our computer and make sure you get logged into the Zoom thing, okay? But it's a free event for doctors and students. So that's our very first virtual event that we're going to host this weekend. That's happening. Normally, we would split the nation into 3 regions, and we'd have 3 regional conferences on site, right? That each region will be responsible for hosting. But because we didn't want our students to be stressed out trying to figure this thing out with all of the controls of COVID these days, we just said, forget it, scrap that. We'll do one big event and it'll be virtual. And so we hope everyone most definitely can get joined for that. So feel free to invite all of your members of your association. Again, it's free, and they will definitely hear about all the upcoming and ongoing things that the ABCA and our SACWA chapters are working on. And basically, they can take part and hear maybe some of the feedback from some of the students that are going to be on that conference, or in that conference, that basically speak up during our doctor-student panel process. This will be where we have all of our registrants will have an opportunity to speak and ask questions. So a lot of doctors will then get to hear what our students are thinking, what they're going through, what their mindsets are, so that from any other standpoint, whether you're a practicing doctor that wants to offer a preceptorship opportunity or some type of shadowing opportunity for our constituents, you can hear so and do that there. Or if you most definitely want to change the way that your outcomes are going with regards to relationships with students, you most definitely can get some pointers there and hear what they're looking for, so that you can kind of provide what the general consensus is that students are saying they need and they're not getting.
Perfect. So what would you tell us? What would you tell our doctors kind of in closing? What one thing, or would you really want them to take home from today's conversation?
Listen, this is a wonderful, wonderful time to be a chiropractor. And I say this from a very genuine place, despite of all of the struggles and challenges that I faced as a Black woman in the profession, as a student and as a doctor. It's a great time because it is a time of transformation. We are literally finishing up the first century of the profession and turning it into the new era. This means right now, today, right here, we are able to shape and mold some things that we will receive the benefit of in the very near and far future. So right now, students and doctors of chiropractic alike have a responsibility to take control not only of themselves, their practices, their experience within the profession, but to also be responsible and take ownership to mold and shape it into what it's going to be, because we are changing, our society is changing, our government is changing, our populations are changing, our agriculture is changing, the quality of the air is changing. What else can I tell you? They're trying to change the quality of our relationship with the sun. So with all of these changes, our profession will have to change, right? And change is good. A lot of people are scared of it, but change is good. It's what we need in order to foster some growth and to shake away from some of those old and limiting practices that we've been enduring and just making it off of for the last, I don't know, 100 years. And so right now, I want your listeners, the listeners and members of your association, to most definitely become empowered, right? Become empowered to take charge. There are a lot of things happening in the profession. And one thing that's very important right now that's happening is Chiro Congress's strategy for the future of chiropractic project. This think tank that I'm a part of, along with other leaders in the profession, is such a mind-boggling and opening experience. Just to sit and think about strategies and scenarios that literally could become our reality in a very near future is so important to do, because it forces us to look at our profession from various aspects: the educational perspective, our relationship with governments, our relationship with, like we're talking, the legislative roles, our relationships again with our communities, our marketing of the profession. How will we present ourselves? How will we educate the masses? How will people get to learn what chiropractic is? How will we begin to re-educate our patients who are baby boomers, who are alive at the time that the AMA said that we were quacks and were not able to provide a care for our patients? We are now reverse engineering all of those things that have limited our profession, and we're folding some things in that are new that we can utilize to create a very well-versed and I guess conglomerate of a profession that is very open to helping any and everyone that needs our help. So right now, I say my goal for the profession, and of course, who am I? But my goal for the profession is for chiropractic to become the gold standard of healthcare in this nation in the very, very near future. And I think we'll be there. The only thing that worries me is that we have to be ready. We got to have enough chiropractors to do it. And so I'm doing the work now. I'm doing my part now in attempting to lead the American Black Chiropractic Association to work on some of these projects that we've had for years, in hopes that we could realize that goal within the near future.
Well, thank you so much for joining Lindsay and I today. You are a fantastic leader and have done an amazing job. For those who are still listening, and I'm sure you are, we're going to give you more information about the project she just mentioned, the Future of Chiropractic, a strategic plan through Chiro Congress, and what that is going to mean for the profession. But she's right, it's going to have a tremendous impact. But Dr. Edwards, thank you so much for joining us today, and
thank you so much.
Your time. You take care.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.